What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading Investing. We're just getting ready right here, right now for our live session. Hope everyone is having a good day, that everyone is ready for the new day ahead. Really happy to be sharing this time with you. Grateful for it. Before we get into everything that's going on this morning, everything that's going to be taking place today, just want to wait a few minutes, welcome everybody in, give everyone a chance as I jumped on a little early to get in here with us. Heath, Tico, good morning. Great to see you all. Calendar's light the rest of the day. Nothing to worry about there, right? Um, I can't imagine paying any attention to China data coming out. But tomorrow we have non-farm payrolls. That's where the focus is going to be. Um, we have the Australian dollar is the strongest currency going into the session, and the British pound is the weakest. All right, let's see what US futures are up again. All right, off their highs, but up again. Yep. I don't mind repeating myself since everyone is jumped on a little early, but I want to just keep going with the flow because I want to know what is going on here this morning. Um, so I saw this morning that China, this is extremely relevant and important, said that within 2 weeks they want everyone, to start going back to work, right? Schools don't have to yet decide whether or not they still need more time. They kind of want to get things flowing again. They cut tariffs on the US, right? They reduced them by, I heard a headline for 50%, but then I heard 30%, right? What does that mean to me? That means that things are not good. They need to, back down their escalation. So they're cutting tariffs on the US. Uh, and then they're giving the appearance that, okay, we're getting back to things as business as usual. We have over here U.S. Trade Secretary, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin said that, look, the U.S. is monitoring the spread of the coronavirus very carefully, right? Just as we are, and they said they'll have a better idea in the next 2 weeks. I think this is a really sound, a really good approach. That, listen, it's right now we don't know. In 2 weeks from now we'll have a better idea. Why? Because that incubation period where the virus could be spread is up to 2 weeks. If you're watching what is happening, if you're watching the official numbers being reported, you can't trust the stuff out of China. I have no idea what's happening out of China, but you could see here in Japan, these cases have doubled in the last couple of days. Doubled, right? Singapore too, Thailand, in the last 2 or 3 days, they've doubled here. That's growing pretty at an alarming rate. So in the next 2 weeks, let's see what these numbers are at. Let's see what's happening across the world. Another case in Wisconsin, US. This is really important because the market is already, full blown risk off. We're gonna have a recovery. Not, I'm taking this very careful mindset. I want to wait and I want to see, because I don't buy it. I see lots of the videos. I see lots of the videos on Twitter, and the Chinese are spraying their streets with basically Lysol. I don't know what it is. These enormous big industrial sprayers just spraying the sidewalks of the street. There's people dead everywhere. There's people running who want to be quarantined. There's stadiums filled with beds and bodies. So right now we have risk somewhat on it. It's mixed today. But I'm not buying it. All right. I'm not looking to sell right now. I'm not looking to jump in here and saying, "Oh, look, we have risk off again." That's not what I'm seeing. So I'm not going to jump on there. But I'm waiting and watching. Oil down off the resistance hard. What happened? OPEC said that they're not going to cut production. Russia said nope, no more cuts. Oil is trading off hard on that because demand is down, huge. Chinese demand is off 20%. Steve Blair, good morning. Good morning. Hey, Blair, great update. It seems to me that the WHO is absolutely in the pocket of the CCP. That they, they're not really so much concerned about the situation and us as much as they are as appeasing the Chinese leaders. This is also really important, just as far as when the Chinese said, they're playing a game here, a game of chicken. I just wanted to bring your attention back when Jean-Claude Juncker, back during the negotiations when things were looking serious between the EU and Greece, and he did come down here and he said that at the height of the eurozone crisis, Mr. Juncker was described as the master of lies, and he said when it becomes serious, you have to lie, right? So any announcement I believe that we get from the WHO is going to be behind the curve, right? It's they're not going to be at the forefront of what's going on. They're going to be, if things get out of control, then they're going to be like, yeah, things are out of control. You know, so that's where we're at. But in the markets right now, we have definitely mixed market today, very mixed. We saw basically prices overnight are almost where they were this morning. The euro made a little bit of an advance back down here towards support. Non-farm payrolls tomorrow, so I would be surprised. I don't expect anything until then. Gold is definitely bid off here, off the support, making it above this resistance over here, looking good. Yeah, do you think one day that, like, you know, our smartphones will just have like a thermometer where like we're required once a day to, you know to take our body temperatures and vitals? Dystopian. So I just want to check in real quick how everyone's doing this week. Um, I aside from taking profits, I've been on the sidelines, and I just want to see where everyone's at and how they're approaching this market. There's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of chances. I feel like I don't really have my pulse on all of you the last few days and as of late. And trading is such that you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep pushing yourself, and I want to make sure that no one is falling behind. Um, Mindset is everything. All right, here's I didn't even look at my pairs yesterday afternoon over here. So this is going to be a good look for me. This is still very much in play now. Australian dollar was the strongest currency overnight. Not really doing anything here. That's a good sign. This remains top of my list over here. I missed this trade. I did look at this trade last night. I missed this trade. There was no chance for me to get into an entry at price already come off too far too quick. Australian dollar, euro, Australian dollar. This remains definitely good above this support over here. I definitely like this. And the euro, same thing, just hanging out over here. Now that we're coming upon non-farm payrolls within one day, I think that's out of play for me. The euro US dollar. Watching and waiting. Jumpy. Everyone, listen, two things that are really important. So, um, I need to take 2 minutes here. I know we're just getting started. My wife is about to leave for a treatment, and I just want to I'll be with her for just a moment. We both have Lyme. She's doing better. Her Lyme is not active anymore. I I'm I was diagnosed when I was diagnosed with Lyme. They said to me that sugar, dairy, and gluten are the things that activate Lyme, and that the most people who it returns to is because they wound up going back on their diet. From that day forward, I never ever have had any sugar, dairy, or gluten. I I beat Lyme within a relatively short period of time, and it was so bad that I would be in the shower with the kids blacking out. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Um, and um, you know, uh, for me, there was no choice. I have a family. I have 5 kids. I needed to do what I needed to do. But the reason I'm even talking about that is because it's so important to have this mindset that we are going to do what we need to do, right? If you want to be a successful trader, you need to have the mindset that you are going to be a successful trader, and you need to work on that, and you need to ingrain that into yourself every day. There's just no other way. Listen, I need 2 minutes here. I'll be back. All right, I do appreciate that, and again, I do apologize. So yes, I did step away for a minute. Sorry for those that just jumped on and didn't hear me. It was very important, something very important I had to take care of. But here we go. Those that are, let me pull up the page first. Those part of the Trading Academy, there was a new module added last night. The ideal amount of FX pairs to trade. Go ahead and do watch that video. It was just added to the course last night, and it is obviously a good one. Where are we at? Let me see. Let me first check in with the DXY, see what's going on. Everyone who's just joined us since I was away, so glad you're here. So glad you're here again. Just that I was kind of, I wanted to touch base with everyone and kind of find out how you all doing. This week for me, I've not even taken any new trades, right? We're coming up with, it's Thursday. All I did was take profit on a trade, but I feel like I've kind of lost my feel for where all of you are, how you're progressing, how you doing, right? So the market has been a little bit unclear, right? We have this huge this week risk on move, right? I wasn't buying it because I kind of stayed away and stepped off to the sidelines. I want to see how you all are perceiving the market, what you all taking advantage of. I noted last night when I woke up this morning, the market was almost in the same place as it was when I went to bed. Not really the best ideal circumstances to be trading. We have non-farm payrolls tomorrow. The market's going to be keying off that. What's going to happen in between, I'm not really sure. But I want to take a minute to check in with all of you and just make sure that we're progressing forward. DXY is up into this resistance over here. Tomorrow's non-farm payroll could definitely have us break through this resistance. The play for me is that this resistance holds up here until it doesn't, right? But we could definitely see a breakout over here. We got this beautiful pattern. We've seen it play out before. When you get a breakout, retest, look at that retest of the breakout of the broken trend line, and then off, you know. But again, even here on the euro, until it breaks, I'm looking for the support to hold. Just always aware that it could give way. This is also our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. Eventually, it's going to break. I just don't know when. Heath, I could understand that very, very easily because of the weak. So I have a feeling that and I could be wrong. I have a feeling that you're risk minded, and I have to say I think that's the right side of the market. But yeah, but the market does what the market does, and whatever the market does is right. But I understand very well if you're having a tough week, because the moves in the market are a little nonsensical this week, and that's what's happening. That makes it difficult. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that we all should not be able to just have that awareness of what is happening and trade what is happening, of course, but it doesn't mean it's an easy week of trading. It's not. Gold bid, right? Dollar strong, gold bid, good. What is going on with the yen and commodity pairs? So Canadian dollar, Japanese yen is kind of. I want to take a look at how important this level have is here and why. I see my touches over here. This was resistance. It's not really to the letter here. That's just a bit of a guide. Price is currently above it. I think getting back down below this would definitely put me bearish here on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. I want to keep watching that. Australian dollar is acting pretty strong, but it's not really making any gains. So, this is a driver here of risk, and also U.S. dollar. If it breaks out here, could put some pressure on here. I think this is completely neutral where it is today. U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, still continuing this breakout above. Oil is down, putting pressure on the pair as well. Above this support here, very bullish. I'm not looking to take any US dollar pairs ahead of the non-farm payroll. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen looks similar to the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Like this resistance up here. But at the same time, my train of thought. At the same time, um, I think I prefer the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. I like the little bit of headwinds that the drop in oil is putting on the Canadian dollar, and I think out of the two pairs, I like the short on the Canadian dollar better than on the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen at the moment. So that's what I'm watching. Euro, Japanese yen. Euro is kind of hanging in there above that support. Euro out of the set of pairs I'm watching remains moderately strong. So I'm not interested in attacking the euro, meaning I'm looking for strength versus weakness, right? So I don't see any really weakness in either the euro or the Japanese yen. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Again, this is very similar to the horizontal over here at that resistance over here where we gap down below. We're just over there. It looks bearish, but I'm not looking. I think the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen is where I want to focus my attention. US dollar, Japanese yen. Ooh, let me step back. I want to take let me look at the 2-day time frame here. Just get a better. Huh. I'm curious if the dollar breaks out above this resistance over here and starts taking off, and the US dollar, Japanese yen breaks this trend line over here, which look at that, it's going back to June of 2015. That's interesting. I don't know what to make of it, but it's interesting. The reason I don't know what to make of it is I'm afraid. Let me put this in red. I'm afraid to get short against the Japanese yen because I'm afraid within the next couple of weeks the whole situation could escalate, the coronavirus situation. Nice, Mima, tipping point. Just catching up on that conversation. Good stuff. So I'm gonna come back to this. Retail is pretty short. Uh, can British pound, Canadian dollar, nothing. Euro, New Zealand dollar. I'm pretty bullish here on the euro coming out of here. I'm pretty bullish here on the euro. Above there looks good. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Again, I'm tipping point said he's not trading before non-farm payrolls. I agree. I'm definitely not trading any US dollar pairs before non-farm payrolls, but I'm looking elsewhere. This looks very good here. Pound Australian dollar holding above this breakout and above this support. Although I'm not inclined to be trading the pound um, at this time, just because of the volatility I see in the pair. It's erratic and it's very headline driven. Um, that being said, this came off pretty hard and pretty fast, and yeah, even still, I don't like trading things that are erratic. Pound Japanese yen seems pretty neutral right now, having trouble holding on to gains up here ever since it broke this trend line over here. I am having a bearish bias towards it. I think you need to see some Japanese yen um, risk off kick in to bring us down, or it seems pretty neutral right now to me. This looks excellent here. The US dollar, Swiss franc breaking above and holding above this resistance now. This looks pretty good. The continuation of the price action we saw yesterday. Wow. If we get a breakout on the US dollar, as I was looking at the US dollar, Japanese yen, I think I also want to focus here on the US dollar, Swiss franc. Although I'm inclined to think that the future is we're slipping closer towards a global recession here, and I think the Swiss franc would definitely outperform the U.S. dollar in that situation. Um, I'm watching a possible bottoming here. The swamp here is so attractive on the U.S. dollar, Swiss franc when you're long the U.S. dollar. Just keeping it in mind, I don't see an actionable play right now. Nothing at all as far as the euro pound. I think that's completely out of play actually. Pound US dollar. This is a little. This is having trouble down back towards the lows again over here on the pound US dollar. I don't know if this is more dollar driven or more pound driven. And I think it's more pound driven actually right now. Uh, Again, so we're at a critical point on the US dollar. Why I say we're at a critical point is because we have non-farm payrolls coming up tomorrow. You could see we're in this big supply zone and at a big resistance point. If we break up to the upside, you know, I mean, I guess the first target that really need to focus on would be around 99. And remember, I said the whole time, if we break out of this bull flag, I think that we're coming back and eventually testing the highs at 99.50. So it's possible this is the week we break through this resistance. It's pretty big resistance and supply. So I don't know, but it's entirely possible. I think it is tipping point. I think it is. This is a look at the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. I mean, it looks like it's bottoming to me. We've been saying that since over here, but it's got to get above this resistance to look like a breakout's in play. I don't pick bottoms down here. The most money to be made is on the turn itself, but it's the hardest position to get into. All right. These two look to be battling out the Australian dollar and Canadian dollar. I think this is in play here off this big resistance level for sure. To which side, I'm not so sure. It could go either way, to be honest. This is a pretty good battle. Pound New Zealand dollar looks very similar to the pound Australian dollar. It's down off the support. I think right now, currently, and that could change. But right now, the Australian dollar is definitely a little bit stronger than the New Zealand dollar. So of the two, I think this is the play. It's a good. I don't like it, but it looks like a good trade here, right? Actually, it looks very inviting to me. because I know where I'm wrong right away, right? But I'm not. I don't have a good feeling about the pound. All right, what are we all looking at today? Tipping point. The gold is now above 1563. Dollar, definitely pressure from the dollars on. Again, gold is trading up with a strong dollar here. Um, so I would be very surprised if the dollar broke this resistance ahead of non-farm payrolls, but always expect the unexpected. Here we come up, very important time of day. We're about 5 minutes to the U.S. equities opening, and look at the dollar making a push. Let's watch what it does this morning. There are stops to be taken out to the downside here on the Euro US dollar, but so far she's holding. So far she's holding. This looks I'm just watching for a surprise move this morning. Shifu, what's going on? Great to see you. Um Basically the theme of the day is very mixed. It's a mix between risk on, risk off. We have non-farm payrolls tomorrow. I'm focusing on here. It's been a very volatile but tough week. I haven't taken any new trades this week. Um, where is the focus? The dollar is up here, taking a run into this supply zone, into this resistance. I can't imagine a break ahead of non-farm payrolls, but always expect the unexpected. Euro is currently uh, holding support. Take another look down at it here right now. Pound looks weak. If the dollar does break out this morning, the pound could have some further downside losses. Breaking, if you take out this support over here on the pound, which hasn't happened since going back towards, this was a big test of it back here in December during the holiday week. But I'm going to call the breakout over here in the beginning of December. So you got 3 minutes now. Futures holding their gains, slightly off their highs. Futures are just loving. They're loving the central bank liquidity, but they're loving the possible pandemic, right? Again, the Chinese are now asking that people return to work in 2 weeks. They're saying the students do not need to return, but they want, they're in a very dangerous place right now. The Chinese, first of all, if they mishandle the situation, their their grasp on power is threatened, right? there comes a time when the people do grab their pitchforks and revolt. But more importantly, what I think they're playing a game of chicken right now, trying to downplay what's going on. If you notice the videos, they're spraying the streets. There's people, people in hazmat suits are collecting people that they think are possibly have the virus, and the people that are being taken away are fighting tooth and nail not to be. It doesn't look like the flu to me. They have stadiums filled with hospital beds. I was looking around the world. You see in Japan, it's really escalating, as well as in Thailand. Uh, the next 2 weeks are very important. I don't buy what they're putting out there. I'm watching the rest of the world and the cases. They're not, regionally and close to China. They're I guess in every 2 or 3 days they seem to be doubling. Australian dollar, nice trading. It seems like a big position though, Sherfu. Seems like a big trade. Hold back now until you get into your next trade. You know, trading a small account as you would a large account is crucial for success. Um, the Australian dollar is pretty hasn't it made the big moves over here, right? But since then, it's been consolidating this break of resistance over here, which rightfully so is now support. But in the last 3 days, in the last 2 days, it has not moved so much. Where was your entry? Was it down here, Shifu, or was it day trading? Position size seems really big to me. Rusted, what are you looking at? Here we go on the U.S. Open. The euro is coming down, testing this support down here. Um, let's see if we go take out some stops. Six, 7, 2, 3. All right, I see where you got in over here. This is nice. The break of that last local resistance down there. Very nice trading, and even very just aware of the shifting risk on that came on. Really a lot harder than I expected or was looking for. That looks like a good trade here, a very good trade. Euro, New Zealand dollar. Anything as this support down here is holding. This looks very good. That looks like an excellent place to be, Martin. An excellent place to be. I want to take out your Euro Swiss franc trade. Oh, this is interesting. So this is interesting. Let me just extend that resistance over here. Once we broke out over here right now, you see it? Broke out of this trend line. Oh, let me zoom in here. We broke this trend line. Extend this resistance over here. Now that we've broken this trend line, if we get above here on the Euro Swiss franc, that looks pretty good. Now, as we're into this resistance here right now, do you look for the reason I wouldn't take this short over here is because you're still above this breakout of this trend line resistance, right? Um, so at that point, there's signs that we could be breaking out here long term. Now, if we were to lose this trend line again and come down to the downside, that might be interesting to go short, because that would mean that we're seeing risk on back in play, and we could take another look at these lows for sure. So if we get back below this trend line, that looks good. Otherwise, if you get above this resistance, this looks good. So this pair is super in play right now. It just takes a little bit of patience. There you go. I'm waiting for momentum. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Yeah, it could just lean off that resistance right there. Then that's pretty much where the shoulder would be. 7095. We're gonna check in here on this momentum on the dollar as we're now coming into this open. The gold is extending its gains again. That's with the dollar spiking up here. It'll be interesting if the dollar does come off, but it's pushing down. It's pushing the euro down. Looks like they are trying to get a push. The equities are not holding their gains. They're down to mixed. Let's see what happens. I'm going to focus my attention back there on the euro, Swiss franc. Also, I like what's developing over there. I think it was Martin who said he's waiting for momentum though, and that's a really good insight and advice. So it's interesting. I like the market. I like a lot that's going on. I'm just not looking yet myself. Tesla is a funny little beast, right? And it's so polarizing too. People are either super bullish or super bearish on Tesla. Actually, they're super bullish as in it's going to be the next $1 trillion company, where they're super bearish where it's complete accounting fraud and it's going to zero. All right, let's see what the dollar's doing. We're seeing the Australian dollar come off a little bit. We're seeing Japanese yen come on a little bit. So let's look at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen then. All right, below this last breakout here of this, which is now support. Down here, you still have a lot of support. Let me go ahead and fix this. All right, because this is now support. I was reluctant to change it because I didn't think it was going to hold. But let me get on the right side of the page here. She starts making new lows on the day. We could see some follow through this morning. That's for sure. DXY is still pushing the top here. Gold is up to 1565 is bid, even with the strong dollar. Silver even more so. WTI is under pressure, trying to get a feel of what's going on. Euro still down towards the low. Wait, see if we're going to get a push of those stops this morning during this session, or if we're going to trade up into non-farm payrolls. It seems like an escalation of the coronavirus weighs a little bit on the dollar. What was happening? No, this was weak data out of the US. This was Thursday, a normal retrace, and then Friday was the bad PMI numbers. Here we go, dollar pushing. Yen is kicking in. Yen is kicking in, definitely. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Getting ready to take out this important level over here of support. I like the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen to the downside over here a lot. I actually love this right now. I'm taking this trade here on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, because my risk reward is just too good to pass up right now. I have a tight stop. Nice gold traders. Looks like once you cleared out this regained this support level over here, super bullish. Above here, it looks like we got room to roam. I think this trend line is in play over here, and that's looking like it comes into play around 1579, 1580 as of right now. If the dollar weakens, gold could really catch a bid. Dollar's into some pretty important area over here. All right. Ugh. Sorry about that. A little bit of a stretch. 15. Yeah. And and just watch the dollar. If the dollar starts to come off against this resistance here, right? Come back, take a look at this support. Let's watch what gold does. Let's keep watching gold. So I have this upper trend line, needs to be really fixed. I'm looking at these points over here, and then these tops over here seem to be more in play right now. I like that much better, much cleaner. You got wrecked. Super great question. I So just really to recap, it was going into the, let me go on the daily just really quick. It was going into the during the holiday that we were seeing this dollar weakness. This is from here. This is really during the holiday, December 23rd through January 1st, or I'll call it 31st of December. We saw hard and fast dollar weakness. And I think that was year end flows, right? By big multinational corporations. And you could see just huge dollar weakness, which therefore was, you saw euro really catch a bid because of that. But just remember the reason for it was just year end flows. And then I think right after, from January 1st on, we saw dollar strengthening, so euro weakness because of the dollar, not because of the euro. And then you saw the dollar actually break out of this bull flag. And then since the dollar has been strong. So I think it's more dollar strength than euro weakness. And just remember, euro against other currencies is still performing pretty well. It's performed a lot better than the Canadian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. I mean, not Japanese yen, excuse me. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. So it's moderate. It's performed a little bit better than the pound, even, right? But against the dollar, I think it's a dollar story. Oh, let's change that. What do you have? Monetary policy statement tonight. I have no idea personally what that is going to bring into play. It seems to me that after just having the rate statement, um, and then the central bank head speaking twice already during the week, that everything is priced into the Australian dollar. I think the risk is a little. I personally think the risk is a little far overdone. The risk move. Ooh, Rustin, could you share a link to that, or tell me what to Google to pull up the FX Blue positioning? All right, let me check on the U.S. equities. They've turned red barely though. That's no big deal. Look at that. That looks good. You guys want to buy this up here? Wow. Look at this. Even your kids would say no. Netflix looks like a good short coming into this resistance up here. Pretty strong resistance at 1382. I'm gonna check if Simple FX has shorting here on Netflix. I know they do on Tesla. Um, I know I never could have got into Tesla because I didn't have funds ready in the account. If Tesla makes a play towards the high, if it gets a, even if it took out this high at 1850, I would really be watching it like a hawk to short it. There's no way if the move got away that I'm chasing it at this point. Dollars just staying strong over here right now this morning. Rustin, there's so much trouble passing links through here. I'm sure you're reading it right, but please do email me the link if you're able sometime this morning. I would greatly appreciate that. I would love to get a look at how much data they're looking at, and that could be such a good tool along with the MyFX book and Forex Factory to see the retail positioning. Yeah, Tesla looks very ugly. let's look at the let's look at the weekly. Oh my goodness. I've heard some horror stories about people losing a lot of money shorting Tesla. I don't know where they started shorting. I mean, obviously anything over here looks super promising. Um, It's the hope in me that we take another look up here, that we get another spike up. I'm not saying that's going to happen. The only way that I would consider shorting it is if we did. If we got that pattern that that we looked at here, which I showed you on Bitcoin because it's so easy to see on Bitcoin. Bitcoin 9,800 looking awesome. Love that. This is on a weekly, but look at this. This is raw. This looks really good. You see, looks like Tesla right here on the weekly. That huge wick tip, and you see how it came back up, but never made the higher high. Actually, I don't know where you could go short here. I think it would have to be like, and I'm looking at this pattern for Tesla. Something like over there is the safe space to get short on this. I want to see us come back up. This is Tesla right now on the weekly. I want to see us come back up and not make a higher high if there's a chance that I'm going to get short here on Tesla. Thanks for sending over that FX Blue link. Let's take a look at it together. But don't want the dollar to get away from me here. I want to watch it at the same time. Thanks for sending it. Look at this. Does it tell us based on real money accounts? FX Blue. Good, good, good. I wish we had an idea of how many that is. We know lots in my FX book, but ever lots. I think a lot of people use FX Blue, so it's pretty neat. Very easy to look at too. U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, 92% short. Wow. I think U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, looking good above that support. Is there anything else? This is definitely the only thing over 90 something percent is the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and it looks good above this support over here. Looks like we're breaking out. Now the hard part is tomorrow's non-farm payrolls. I don't want to be involved in a dollar pair ahead of non-farm payrolls. I'm watching for a break here above this resistance this morning because expect the unexpected, but that's not the base case. Oh, of course, Shifu, of course. That was sent over by Rusted. Here we come. So what? I'm really curious to how many accounts are connected to FX Blue. We know obviously my FX book dwarfs Forex Factory. Forex Factory doesn't have nearly nearly as much volume as my FX book. Um, but I would think FX Blue has more than Forex Factory. That's my guess. Dollar, such an important, big level right now. Important to watch. Let's see. Let's see what happens. This is very important. I'm not sure. I'm not. I'm. The good thing about not playing the breakout is it's always easier to retest and then retrace because it's safer. Um, I mean, so this morning we said, I don't think it'll break out here, but looking for the unexpected. But Thank you for reminding me to take some sip here while it's still relatively warm. All right, Rab. I want to take a look here at the dollar index just for a moment. So I'm assuming the pound is breaking down here. We'll check in a second. Looking for the high peaks. It's around 98.45. You get above 98.45, and well, nothing looks clear. Sorry. Found in a precarious situation. Blair, do you have any moving average levels on the Euro US dollar that you're watching? Beautiful. 998. From what I see, under 1.098 itself, then there's nothing else holding her up. Just getting back to the whole coronavirus situation, as we kind of try to be able to figure out the puzzle as it develops. I read last night that it wasn't until tomorrow, February the 7th, that Africa would be receiving its first test kits. My worry, my concern is that both Latin America and Africa don't even have the capabilities to be testing, you know, whether or not people are infected, as well as, I mean, to be honest, the medical care is much different in those countries than it is elsewhere. So we have no idea what has happened these past few weeks or what the actual cases are. Something to be aware of. Ooh, that's terrible to hear. Thank God that he was courageous enough to let us know. Here's the Macron Gap calling for the close. I think we need to see. That's a big one. Sheffield, I was born right outside New York City, about 40 minutes outside of New York City. Moved in my early 20s to New York City. From there, moved and settled out in San Francisco. India too. I didn't even think of India. I lived in Mexico for 7 years. So when I talk about the different type of medical care in Latin America, and Mexico is way ahead of most of Latin America. I understand firsthand, as in like they prescribe antibiotics for colds. Let's see what gold's doing with this dollar, making an attempt here at a break above a pretty big supply zone. Gold backing off just a tiny bit, still holding its levels above 1558. It looks strong. I also lived in Argentina for almost a year. I've lived in Bosnia Herzegovina for almost a year. Still a lot of trading left in this morning here in New York, so we could see some moves. Definitely dollar is pushing. Pound US dollar is all US dollar pairs are at a very precarious situation. By the way, US dollar, Canadian dollar is lifting off out of that support over here. But the pound US dollar is testing this support. It's very, very strong. If it breaks below, and the dollar breaks out here, we obviously we could see a much extended move. The first area you would have to look towards is 1.29. Um, if the pound is going to hold here, pound's been weak overnight. Pound is weak on trade negotiations. If it's going to hold here is all dependent on whether this is a breakout of the dollar or not. It's dollar's looking like it's breaking out, but I don't know that I don't know. Not until the level breaks. I don't know. I don't play the breakout if it breaks down here. I look for a breakdown. It would probably stall out somewhere around 1.29. And then I would look for a retrace to the broken support. If that holds as resistance, right? If you come down to the next level, probably it would stabilize right around 1.29. Come back up. If it tests this broken support as resistance and then resumes downwards, that's where I would look to get short. Would I step in front and buy here? I would not buy the pound off of the support because I look for high probability setups. The pound is in a very difficult situation right now, a very volatile situation with the trade negotiations starting. Um, I don't like the pound here. I think there are prettier pictures, prettier ticks than the pound. Here we go on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, testing the low. If we extend this, I'll just put this right there. That's where we are right now, that high. Um, Same thing here, down on the euro, looking to try and take out this broken resistance, which is now support. So I'll just until we break it through right now, I'll keep it as support. Uh, British pound, Japanese yen, also getting close. It looks like the Australian dollar, Japanese yen is leading the way, and the Canadian dollar weaker than the Australian dollar here, as it looks like to be making lows out of there. And gold maintaining maintaining its bid. Silver very bid today. Australian dollar, Japanese yen look like it's testing right now. Pretty important number right here. You can see it right here. This is how the support looks like we're peaking down below it right now. you you got Rex Macron gap, I think is the comment of the day. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking until there's some type of situation within Europe, whether it was Italy or maybe I think it's in 2022, the next election out of France, or if something were to take place in Germany that could really threaten the EU, then I didn't think that gap was going to close until then. But if it could become a dollar story, if you're familiar with Brent Johnson's milkshake theory, uh, basically what he expects is that the U.S. dollar is just going to continue to um, to outperform everything, even though everyone's in a bad situation. I personally think here we come now right now though. Watch 1980. If we take this out, we could go down to pretty low to another 60, 70 pips down. So thanks everybody who's gone ahead and liked this. That does help support the channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm know that people like this content and help others see it. As far as my email, I'll pull that up for you right now. Breaking below. It's right there. So Brent Johnson, right? Luke Groman is another one who's really very interesting to follow and watch. Now he's a lot more bearish on the dollar immediately, um, and that's the thing. They're both bearish on the dollar long term, but it's a question of timing, right? And then there's also Jeffrey Snyder, who's probably the world renowned expert on the euro dollar, is another fantastic one to learn from and watch. The XY now going for it. Naheem sent over. This is broker positionings. Oh, look at this. This is awesome. Nice share. This has Forex Factory, my FX book, FX Blue, and then it has other brokers. This is Oanda, IGG, Saxo. I'm not familiar with this. Insta Forex, Fibber Group. I've heard of it. I don't know. And Duca Copy is a big one. This is awesome. It's all the data into one place. This is worth bookmarking. I'll share it right now in the chat. This is set to the Euro US dollar, but you could just go ahead and remove that, and then you could pick. I guess you just got to pick the pair by clicking on the pair over here. For example, let's look at US dollar, Canadian dollar, and oh, that's interesting. It also ranks them in order of their positioning. Great share. Thank you. Thank you, Neem. You got wrecked. Appreciate that. That's a great share. That will be our go-to from now on. Nice play, Blair. Everyone else who took that short year US dollar over here. So, Rev, seriously, on the stop losses, I know that in the past, I would also see my stop loss hit by like literally in the market turn within a few pips, and I knew that I was placing my stop losses just way too accurately and not giving it room. And we also have that problem sometimes with our take profits where we're putting our take profits at the perfect spot, which is why you didn't get filled by the spread. And there's a chance that comes back within minutes and refills and hits it. But with stop losses and take profits, a lot of us tend to be very precise and exact and too perfect. Look at that. She's got some work to do to get out of this. Really, needs to regain the 1888 level up here, or a little bit even higher, to be out of the woods. Um, just coming now into the first area of support. I do not understand the peso's strength. I have no grasp on that. what's going on. We have gold still maintaining its bid with the dollar breaking out over here, pushing the highs over here. We're going to find out pretty soon whether the euro US dollar now is going lower or just took out some stops and reverses up. So far, nothing, no extension of this move here. That looks pretty bearish on the daily. Still having trouble breaking down over here. What did the pound do on that last impulse? Pound broke down. This is why you don't play the breakout. It's already coming back up. Pound is super weak today overall. Pound is weakened. Again, the negotiation just started. We have data not for, around the week of the 20th coming out. That's very important on the pound. That's going to affect the pound. But as far as how far could it go today, if we lose the support over here, which it's too soon to know, we got to wait for the close on the daily here. Same thing with the euro. Um, Looks like we're breaking down pretty hard here, but be aware. We got. I think I think if the pound does lose this level here, it's got about another 20, 25 pips until it hits the next bit of support. I would think it would bounce off that, retrace, and take a look at this broken support. If this support breaks, it's not yet broken. All right. But as far as how far down it could go, if we lose this area here, if we lose this support, and the next support, the next big support's 150 pips down at 1.28. Yeah, Bill, we're here to look at anything at any time. It helps me, it helps you, it helps everyone taking a look around. As well as obviously the market's always moving. Even if we looked at something, don't please, you're welcome more than to ask always. Looking here at the New Zealand dollar, you so excuse me, let me gather my thoughts here. We have the dollar, first of all, since this is a dollar pair, and the dollar is breaking out here, but is coming towards the top of this resistance here, right? So it's not like as if you want to take a long dollar position here if you're not already long. So you would not want to short the New Zealand dollar, US dollar here because the dollar is coming into this strong resistance. This is an area of taking profits or waiting for a breakout above and then reestablishing positions if we break out above, right? So on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, um, you wouldn't look to short here. You might look to take profits down here. Now, if the dollar does break out over there and we break down and get below this support over here on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, absolutely, this is looks, at that point you might want to look to short. You could even draw in over here this new local support right over there. All right, so let's draw that in. Now, at the same time, do you want to come in here and buy the New Zealand dollar you versus the US dollar in case the dollar backs off a little bit here? That would be very counter trend. This is a strong downtrend here ever since we lost this important level. I think it's better to stand aside, wait to see if we get any type of retracement if the dollar does hold. Um, and if the dollar holds and we get any type of retracement back into, look at this area of resistance that price just bounced off of. Another look at there, maybe you could short it. If you regain this level over here to the upside, then you could think about getting long. Or if the dollar starts breaking out further, and this gives away somewhere over here, you might want to look to get short. But right now, I'd be looking to stand aside. And now, as far as gold, gold looks very good today. Got dollar, US dollar is super strong. Gold is trading higher than the dollar. That means the gold is very strong, continues to remain strong. So the dollar is not really getting in the way of gold. If the dollar weakens, that could help build the case for gold. Gold above this support over here, which it held yesterday at 1550, is just really bullish. And now that we've regained this little level over here around 1560, 1562, 1563, right around there. That looks again very bullish. As long as this holds over here, if you start retracing out of it, might be an opportunity to get long. Um, Gold is bid and looks bullish, and I think as long as we're above 1558, this low right over here, as long as we're above this level, we just remain super bullish on gold right now. I'd be looking towards this resistance line of around 1580, 1579, possibly take profits. Dollar breaking out. Looks like the pound's falling. Let me check it out. That's all right, tipping point. Yeah, I took a Canadian dollar, Japanese yen short right over here. I took it over here as price was bouncing off here at the low of this previous price bar over here. So the entry is right around 82.61. And I have my stop right above at, let me see, at 82.85. So very tight stop. Um, and that's what I'm holding. Look at this. Yeah, they also said the OPEC said that they're not going to cut production. Russia was against it, and they're not cutting to it. Not a good sign over here as we came back up into this breakdown. Tested it. It's holding so far. So until we get back above 52.20, um, it looks very bearish. And then even if you get above there, you still have this really big level at 54.74. So not looking good for oil. which is well also why I leaned into the Canadian dollar. This is the next level I'm looking at here on the Euro US dollar. I have it at let's see, 0.10958. I don't think many other traders are watching that level. Anyone that's in the trade, I'm definitely curious. The reason I have this level there is you could see down over here the support, although the spike was through it, but here's where the closes are. Again, um, you have over here, this was the area of resistance support, closes of body of the candles there. So that's why I have that there. I don't think many other traders are focused in on there. Anyone who's managing an open position there, I'm very curious about your levels. Gold is holding up relatively well on this spike. I have no idea. I have no idea. If we break out here and hold the breakout on the close of the daily, then I'm have to be uber bullish the dollar. Right, Hanero, great trading all around. That's always a pleasure to see. Nice trading, Blair. Chefu. All right. The Coco looking for a retest. The markets are alive. Like to see it. Australian dollar. Precarious. Look at that. The pound US dollar leaned into the exact level we gave, as it would probably stop around there, retrace up. You could watch for a retest here, see how that broken support acts, right? And again, I look for the daily for a break of support or resistance to close on the daily. So this could go either way. On if you're trading a short time frame, you can watch this, see if you come into this broken support, and if it holds as resistance and price resumes downwards, that's a good entry. At the same time, don't take the trade until you see price retrace backwards, because you could break this. This might be a false break. We don't know yet. It's too soon. Euro US dollar is breaking down, lost important support today. You could see it over here. Focus for here where my mouse is. Look at this big support we had over around 1.0992. Price broke down today, came back into this towards this next area of support we have in, and so far is bouncing off the support. Here you have the dollar index breaking out here to new highs, but again, we use the daily to know if it's a breakout. And if we break out above, then we're looking for a retest. We want this to hold as support. Even this area here, if this holds as support, let me mark this now until the daily. All right, above there, this is a breakout. We got to close down below this area here in the dollar index at 98.39, call it, right around there, to call that a possible false breakout. Right now, it looks like this is a valid breakout. So the pressure's on the euro, but we're still intraday here. We go seeing a buy on the Australian dollar, US dollar. I want to take a look at it from the bigger perspective so I could get a look at it. Yeah. So two things. This line over here that I have marked red is now support actually. It's a light one. It's a light line, meaning I don't pay too much attention to it. But you could see these closes. This is, let me make this a little thicker. This is an important line actually. This line is definitely in play. Price is holding above it. You have this support right there also. So is this a buy entry? Yeah, it looks like this was resistance, broke above the resistance. This line over here, the support horizontal, was also resistance. We broke above it. If we come back above this, I would look for a higher high here. And again, trading off the 8-hour, I would like to see a higher high be made here for this to be a hold of support. Otherwise, right now it's in jeopardy of breaking down here as well. So being the fact that we're at some pretty important levels, I'd want to see some type of confirmation. We could just as easily break down here as hold the support. That's why I filter out the noise on the 8-hour. If we start making higher highs, then it's a buy, the support held. If we break down here, you could look for a retest. If this holds as resistance, look to take it down. Australian dollar, US dollar is at a very, very important place. All right, let's tone it down. God bless. God's always full of blessings. That's very important. Yeah, so first of all, that's the most sincere thing. Right? Life is a gift. We're here. Let's be grateful and thankful. Things are moving, thank God. Last couple of weeks, last few weeks, we've seen life coming back into the markets after a few years of low volatility. We thrive off of volatility. We want that to continue coming back into the markets. First thing you need to do is trade smaller position. All right. You want to trade a position where any individual trade is not going to affect the outcome of your account whatsoever, so that you are able to maintain the type of mindset you need to trade profitably and consistently. The next thing to do after that is come up, trade a higher time frame. You're not going to get whipsawed around as much. You'll be able to make better decisions. So focus on those two things first. First thing is trade smaller. Don't risk more than 0.5% of your account right now on any individual trade. 0.5%, and trade a higher time frame. You'll start seeing things much clearer. Thanks, Rick. Rick, so I really is kind. I really appreciate that. My goal here is to level up everyone, to bring up everyone's game. which brings up my game, which benefits myself. But ultimately, of course, I'm a trader, so I'm always trying to look to improve, and you know, and it's, first you have to find the thing that you need to fix, which is causing the greatest amount of error. And then it comes to when you get to a point where you're fine tuning things, right? So I'm always fine tuning things. And, this is helpful for me. And the better everyone becomes, also just continues to make me a better trader as well, and adds value. And then if you've noticed, we have a lot of people in here who've been here now for a couple of months, who are definitely, also out there helping everyone, which is awesome. Gold looking good. Tipping point. I noticed you were a little quick to move your stop to break even there, which I just wonder if that means that you're trading a little too big. Yeah, the ones that go against me, obviously I drop quicker. That could be anywhere from several hours to a day. And on average, probably about 3 or 4 days. I take only about 3 trades a week. This week, I've only taken I took profit on a trade that was open for 2 weeks. It was a very long trade, for me, very long. I'm always open and looking to get into a position trade. But that was because of the crisis, because of the coronavirus over the weekend. On the open, I went short here, and then I took profit here before the Australian central bank meeting. That trade was outside of my normal wheelhouse. I took advantage of what was going on in the markets. Right now, I'm in the Canadian dollar Japanese yen. Is my first trade of the week, and sorry, the Canadian dollar Japanese yen, and I'm all for. And there's so many setups this week. I'm watching all these blue pairs are my top picks I'm watching, and then I have these purple pairs which are also highly active for me. And out of all these pairs, I narrow it down usually to just one. Right, so I'm um very picky about and choosy about the trades I take, and I definitely wait that for them to come to me. I have a tight stop here though. I have a stop in at 82.85. If I'm wrong, I'm getting out right away. And I have no idea if I'm right how long I will hold the trade open, because the first thing I'll be looking is the nearest support level. Um, Probably around 82.40. I'll look to see about moving my stop maybe to break even, or I'm just going to give it room and see what happens. I'm in a rush to get out of my trades if I'm wrong, and I'm not in a rush to give up trades that are working out. All right, just checking in there before I just check it in. Always looking out for each other. That's all. Yeah. So this is what we're looking for though on Tesla. We're looking for Tesla to take another look at it, but not make a higher high than 97.1. All right. And if that happens, this might be the point I take a poke at Tesla. We're gonna wait and see. I'm not ready yet, and I'm only gonna get it if it works out. So super good question, and I'm gonna give the super good question. So here's what you do. First of all, try to have as few things as possible on the chart, meaning indicators, right? Because the more indicators you have and the more things you look at, for example, fib levels, which a moving average alone can make a successful system. You could just trade fib levels, but the fewer things you have on the chart, the fewer conflicting signals. The idea here is to make something so complex and so difficult simple as possible. So the least amount of indicators, the better. Now, I draw my support and resistant levels and channels off of the daily time frame. And I always look at the daily time frame. You see me every weekend. I'm focused in on the daily time frame as I reset my view of the market, as I take a top-down approach and I get that pulse of the market for the week ahead. I'm always on the daily time frame, right? Then from the daily time frame, when you have these levels, for example, let's look at this support level we had over here at 109954. You know, no matter what time frame you look at, I go down to the 8-hour time frame next. But I'm going to show you on the 30-minute time frame that level that I wrote on the daily. Here it is. That support is right here that I have from the daily time frame. On the 30-minute, it's just as relevant it is on the daily. That's why you start on the daily time frame to add your levels. Then no matter what time frame you're trading, there's not going to be any type of conflicting signals, because what's relevant on the daily is relevant on the 8-hour, the 4-hour, the 1 hour, the 30-minute, the 15-minute, or the 5-minute. All right. So that number one, that's the most important. Number two is you have to pick the time frame that you trade. For me, that's the 8-hour. Okay. So I take my trades off of the 8-hour time frame. It's the easiest to trade, meaning you only have 3 possible signals a day, right? 24 hours a day divided by 3, 8 hours, as well as I avoid Asia. So it's 2 signal periods a day. I get to do my analysis every day, New York session, and then I only need to, you know, I could spend 10 minutes during Asia looking at the charts and know what to do for London, right? Now, whatever is happening on a different time frame, that cannot affect my decisions I make on the time frame I trade. So if you're trading the 4-hour time frame, anything happening on the 15-minute time frame, 1-hour time frame is irrelevant. You take your signals off the 4-hour time frame. All right? You draw your support and resistance, you get the overview from the daily, and then you trade off the 4-hour time frame. Don't worry what's happening on the lower time frame. All right? You have to simplify things and take away any type of confusion. Tipping point. I'm going to pull that up for you. That's my fault. I used to have it in the descriptions. I didn't know whether or not it was a resource for people. I will. I'm going to go ahead and re-add that then. Let me pull that up for you right now, though. Again, a big thanks to anyone who's gone ahead and liked this video. That definitely helps the channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Uh, for whatever reason, we don't get the most views on our channel on our live streams, but I think that's good because it's helping us develop a really good core group, a foundational group of people. So I'm all about that. Here we go. This is the video. So this video shows you how to set up the 8-hour time frame, including the downloads right here that you need. I'm going to go ahead and include this in the description. That's good to hear. That's awesome to hear. And I appreciate that. Guys, you don't hear me talking so much about Bitcoin right now, and that's only because there's not much to say. Everything is working out exactly as you guys have seen me for a couple of months now kind of plan and say. When I was talking a big Bitcoin, we were trading around 7,500. Everyone in the world was so scared. I put out that video that 6,500 would be the low. Uh, I hit it since well, wow, almost off by $34, and it looks like that's the low, and it looks like that's going to be the low of the whole cycle. Right now, Bitcoin is trading up. I believe over the next 5 months, and I think you have about at most between 5 and 7 months. Uh, you're just looking at buying off of supports above 8,500. We're just uber bullish. Above 9,100, we're super bullish. And as now we're holding this last consolidation and breakout, it looks to me at least we look to test 10,300, but probably closer to 10,750. Um, I guess now I'm leaning towards the possibility that Bitcoin gets away from me in so much as that I expect by early May, we're trading at 11,400, which is for a year and a half now been where I said we would be. And if we get above that, it's gone too far too soon, in my opinion. And I think we would shortly after the halving event maybe come back down to where I think we should be, 11,400. Even as low as 10,350. Um, so right now that we're a little bit ahead of my model, uh, I'm not I'm not FOMOing here. That's anyone needs to chase after it. I don't think that's the case at all. So that's that. And no, but as sincerely as I could be, what a gift to be. I feel honored to be here with all of you. Period. That's clear. Everyone knows that. Enough said. But can you imagine being just learning, how to trade and having stumbled across this environment? That's awesome. That that is a gift. I think that's fantastic. I and I wish as early on that that possibility existed for me. It really didn't when I started trading. There wasn't even YouTube. So everyone on the channel here knows that I'm a huge fan of Bitcoin. I actually trade my Forex account in Bitcoin, and I do that. Well, we can start here. The reason I do that is you could look at Bitcoin every 4 years has a halving cycle. That's what you're looking at here. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third. In 5 months, in 4 months, we then go to the next halving cycle, which means that every 10 minutes, the miners who are verifying the Bitcoin network, they receive a reward of Bitcoin. Right now, it's 12 and a half Bitcoin every 10 minutes. That will be cut in half to 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. That happens, right around May of this year. Look what happened the first time that happened. Bitcoin was trading around $12 as the halving happened. And then you could see that was a bull market right after the halving. It went from $12 to 1,000. Okay. After the second halving, Bitcoin was trading, say, around $880, $850. Shortly thereafter, Bitcoin went from $850 all the way to $19,500, We're now 5 months away from the next halving. Bitcoin's around $11,000 at the which where it should be in 5 months. And what will happen after that halving? You could look at this chart over here. I'm going to post a link to this video because it's a great video. Right now, we're over here in this reaccumulation area. Okay, you could see it here. And then after the halving, you could see what happens in, the 6 months to 18 months afterwards. It's just this huge price appreciation of Bitcoin. And this is where we're getting close to. So I trade my Forex account in Bitcoin, right? You see why? This is where we are right now. We're right about where my mouse is, and we're approaching this area. And by the end of 2021, why we should be trading at $55,000. Speculation tends to get ahead of itself, and we could trade at some pretty high numbers, even though that's not right. So this video I recommend as a good place to start. Not as a good place to start, as an essential video. I think anyone watching that video is getting a much better education than most other people. But there's one other video I want to share with you. Jesse, making me sound older than I am. Come on, I'm young at heart. Don't worry about it. Yeah, and as long as we close today above this level, 98.39, I have it. This was a breakout today on the dollar index. Same thing on the euro US dollar. As long as we close above, uh, let's call it the whole number, 1 point, well, 1.0994. This is a breakdown, but we still have a little bit of trading left in us. See what happens. Jennifer, I would like to find a way to definitely improve these live streams. Now, so I get up at like 6:30 in the morning and help get my oldest ready for school. Um, and then I get to sit down here, and before we get on live stream, I get to kind of like spend a little bit of time to myself, and but for sure, you know my hair's not even combed or anything like that, for sure. So And Bill, definitely, or Bill or anyone else who's just joining us for the first time, please do go ahead and subscribe to the channel because we're live streaming every day, Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. And that way you just be alerted to join us more often, as well as see any new content that I put out on the channel. The weekly Forex forecast and analysis videos are definitely essential, whether you're a beginner or advanced trader. For me, they're essential for shaping my mindset and frame for the week ahead. Um, and as well as just so everyone's a heads up, I do plan beginning very soon to be putting out much more content on Bitcoin, as now it is time. And during that next bull market phase, we will look to see about taking advantage when possible, also on different type of altcoins, which have not been the time to trade altcoins. And from my research, it's not until about 6 months to after the halving that we can see these enormous gains on altcoins. Right now, it's still a Bitcoin story, and regardless of the fact, um, the Bitcoin is the only thing that that I think you want to own as an investment. Money could be made on the altcoins, that's for sure. But the whole idea, anyone who's trading altcoins, they're only looking to increase their Bitcoin position, right? And they want to own Bitcoin at the end of the day. And this is why I recommend trading an account in Bitcoin. At the height of the bull market, we'll flip that over into dollars. But right now, you want to be focused on holding and accumulating Bitcoin. So, Rustin, just a heads up for the Trezor wallet. So when you're setting up your Trezor wallet, you have the opportunity to enter in not only a PIN number, but then a personal passcode. And if you enter in that personal passcode, then if someone even gets your treasure and is able to hack it, they would not be able to actually access anything on the treasure wallet. So if someone actually is able to get a hold of your treasure wallet and you do not have a passcode, then they could, you know, uh, and again, this is not, this was not, this would be some, there are people that you need to, your hacking skills would be, need to be extraordinarily advanced, but it's possible, right? Um, but with a passcode, it's not possible. Yeah, definitely. So personally, I follow oil. I don't trade oil. I do trade gold and silver. I trade them through my Forex broker. Um, as but definitely as far as Bitcoin, and other altcoins. And again, we'll start getting into the other altcoins probably at the earliest about 9 months from now, when it's the right environment to be trading them and there's some serious money to be made. Right now, the time is definitely to be focused in on foreign exchange, on Forex. All right, everyone. I think this is a good place to end our stream for today, to end our session. Just the only thing I want everyone to really focus on the rest of this session today is that we're looking for the daily to find out whether or not this is a true breakout or a false one. And we're going to wait for the non-farm payrolls tomorrow. Here on the same thing on the Euro US dollar. We closed down below this support. We've broken the support, right? That's for sure. But nothing's ever easy, and it's not easy right here, right now. We don't know yet intraday if it's going to be a breakdown, as well as maybe, we'll see if this extends or reverses tomorrow. If the market keys off that at all, um, in my mind, I'm also aware that any new possible cases inside the U.S. could see a little bit of dollar selling. Um, but you guys seem well on top of it, and to be trading at a pretty good level. I'm very happy about that. All right, everyone. I do appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later.